passenger jet tears apart at 30,000 feet, scattering wreckage across miles of frozen landscape. Yet when investigators recovered the black box, the data shows something impossible. The aircraft never experienced a single malfunction, never lost altitude, never broke apart. According to the flight recorder, the plane landed safely at its destination with all passengers alive, but 312 people are dead, and the world is demanding answers to a mystery that defies every law of physics and aviation. Before we dive in, what time are you listening? Where are you from? Drop a comment below and tell me. And please like and subscribe for more videos like this. Sarah Mitchell walks into the National Transportation Safety Board headquarters on a Tuesday morning in March, carrying a coffee she will not finish and a briefcase full of preliminary reports she wishes she had never read. She is the lead investigator for Flight 227, and in 23 years of examining aircraft accidents, she has never seen anything like this. The coffee grows cold on her desk as she stares at the photographs spread before her. Twisted metal scattered across 12 miles of Alaskan wilderness. Seats still buckled with passengers frozen in their final moments. A tail section lodged in a stand of pine trees. A wing buried in snow. Every piece of evidence screams catastrophic mid-air breakup. She picks up the preliminary report from the recovery team. They found the fuselage in 7 major sections. The cockpit separated cleanly from the main body. The pressure hull shows signs of explosive decompression. Metallurgists confirm metal fatigue in 3 critical joints. Everything points to structural failure at cruising altitude. Sarah has seen this pattern before. She knows how to read the story that wreckage tells. But then she opens the second folder, the one containing the black box data, and her understanding of reality begins to crack. The flight data recorder shows Flight 227 maintaining steady altitude from Seattle to Anchorage. No unusual vibrations, no pressure fluctuations, no warning indicators. The aircraft descended normally, approached the runway at Anchorage International, touched down smoothly, and taxied to the gate. The cockpit voice recorder captures the pilots discussing weather conditions, joking about coffee, running through standard checklists. Their voices remain calm throughout the entire flight. In the final moments of the recording, the captain radios the tower for landing clearance. The co-pilot mentions something about dinner plans. Then the recording ends, as it should, with engine shut down at the gate. Sarah calls an emergency meeting with her team. 8 specialists gather in the conference room, each an expert in their field. Structural analysis, avionics, human factors, weather. They review the evidence together, and the room falls silent. Nobody can explain the contradiction. The wreckage proves the plane disintegrated over Alaska. The black box proves it landed safely. Both cannot be true, yet both are verified and authenticated. Michael Torres, the structural engineer, speaks first. He has examined every inch of recovered fuselage. The fracture patterns are consistent with catastrophic failure. The metal shows clear evidence of stress beyond design limits. He has photographed the failure points, measured the tear patterns, analyzed the metallurgy. His conclusion is absolute. This aircraft came apart in flight. There is no other explanation for the wreckage distribution. Janet Kim, the avionics specialist, presents next. She has extracted and analyzed both black boxes according to protocol. The devices show no signs of tampering. The data is continuous and consistent. The encryption keys are valid. She has verified the recordings against satellite data, ground radar, and weather patterns. Everything matches perfectly with a normal flight profile. Her conclusion is equally absolute. This aircraft completed a routine flight. There is no other explanation for the recorder data. Sarah looks from one expert to the other. Someone must be wrong, but nobody can find the error. She orders additional testing. The black boxes go to 3 independent laboratories. Each confirms the data is genuine. The wreckage goes through additional analysis. Every test confirms catastrophic structural failure. Days turn into weeks. The investigation expands. NASA becomes involved. Military radar data is reviewed. Satellite imagery is analyzed frame by frame. The picture becomes clearer and somehow more impossible. Flight 227 took off from Seattle at 2:15 in the afternoon. Radar tracked it climbing to cruising altitude. Satellites observed its progress northward. Weather stations noted its passage. Everything proceeds normally until the aircraft reaches a point above the Gulf of Alaska. Then something happens that should not be possible. The radar signature splits. One target continues toward anchorage, descending normally, landing safely. Another target breaks apart, scattering across the wilderness. Both signatures are real. Both are verified by multiple independent systems. The plane somehow existed in 2 places simultaneously. Sarah interviews the air traffic controllers. They remember clearing Flight 227 for landing. They watched it on radar, guided it to the runway, confirmed wheels down. Yet they also received emergency beacon signals from the crash site. They heard nothing on the radio indicating distress. The pilots never declared an emergency, never reported problems, never asked for help. The controllers find themselves doubting their own memories, wondering if they imagined the normal landing. The recovery teams bring back more wreckage. Sarah walks through the hangar where they are reconstructing the aircraft piece by piece. She sees passenger belongings scattered among the debris. Phones with final text messages never sent. Tablets with movies paused mid. Books with pages marked. These people died instantly when the aircraft disintegrated. She sees their faces in the passenger manifest. Families traveling to Alaska for vacation. Business travelers heading to meetings. Students going home. All dead, all mourned, all buried. But then comes the report that changes everything. A security camera at Anchorage International captured footage from that afternoon. Sarah watches the video in her office with the door locked. She sees Flight 227 taxi to the gate. She sees the jetway extend. She sees passengers disembark, collecting luggage, walking through the terminal. She freezes the video and zooms in on faces. She compares them to the passenger manifest. They match. She sees people who died in the crash walking through an airport, alive and healthy. Sarah contacts Anchorage Airport security. They provide additional footage. She watches passengers from Flight 227 collecting luggage at baggage claim. She sees them leaving the terminal, getting into cars, boarding shuttle buses. She tracks them through security cameras in the parking structure, on nearby roads, at hotels. She sees them checking into rooms, eating at restaurants, going about their lives. Yet these same people have death certificates. These same people have funerals scheduled. Their families have identified bodies from the crash site. The investigation takes a darker turn. Sarah begins contacting the families of passengers. She asks careful questions. Did they see their loved ones after the flight? Did they receive any communication? The answers are consistent. Nobody heard from the passengers after the crash. Families received notification of death. They identified bodies or personal effects. They planned funerals. Yet Sarah has video evidence of these same people alive in Anchorage. She travels to Alaska personally. She reviews every piece of footage. She interviews hotel staff, restaurant workers, taxi drivers. Several remember passengers from Flight 227. They describe conversations, interactions, details that could not be fabricated. A hotel clerk remembers checking in a family of 4, the father mentioning their close call with weather during the approach. A waitress remembers serving a business traveler who complained about airplane food. These accounts are too specific, too detailed to be false memories. Sarah returns to Seattle, carrying a theory that terrifies her. She gathers her team again and presents her findings. The plane both crashed and landed. The passengers both died and survived. Somehow, impossibly, Flight 227 split into 2 versions of reality. In one version, the aircraft suffered catastrophic structural failure and crashed in the wilderness. In the other version, it landed safely and passengers continued their lives. Both versions are real. Both versions happened. The evidence proves it beyond doubt. Michael, the structural engineer, suggests quantum mechanics might explain it. Schrödinger's cat on a massive scale. A quantum event that created 2 simultaneous outcomes. Janet, the avionics specialist, proposes a localized reality distortion. Something in that specific location at that specific time caused a divergence in the timeline. The theories grow increasingly desperate. Each expert knows how insane they sound, yet nobody can refute the evidence. Sarah makes the decision to go public. She prepares a press conference. She knows her career is over. Nobody will believe her. She will be labeled incompetent or insane. But she cannot hide this. 312 families deserve answers, even if those answers defy logic. She schedules the press conference for Monday morning. Sunday night, Sarah receives a phone call from an unlisted number. The voice on the other end speaks calmly, professionally. The voice tells her that her press conference will not happen. The voice explains that her findings will be classified under national security provisions. The voice assures her that this decision comes from the highest levels of government. Sarah argues. She demands explanations. The voice remains calm. Some things are beyond public understanding. Some things create more danger than truth. The call ends. Monday morning, Sarah arrives at her office to find it sealed. Federal agents escort her to a secure facility. She spends 6 hours in a windowless room, answering questions, signing documents. Everything she has learned about Flight 227 is now classified. She is forbidden from discussing the investigation with anyone. Her team receives the same treatment. Every piece of evidence is confiscated. The wreckage disappears from the hangar. The black boxes vanish. The video footage is deleted from every system. An official report is released. Flight 227 crashed due to structural failure caused by metal fatigue. The black boxes were damaged in the crash. Data was corrupted. The accident investigation concludes with standard recommendations for enhanced maintenance procedures. Families receive settlements. The media moves on to other stories. Sarah Mitchell is reassigned to a desk job analyzing paperwork. She never leads another investigation, but Sarah cannot stop thinking about the passengers. Are they still out there somewhere, living in an alternate version of Anchorage? Do they know they died in another reality? Are there two versions of every person on that plane, one dead and one alive? She dreams about them at night. She sees them walking through the airport terminal, unaware that in another universe their loved ones are weeping at funerals. Years pass. Sarah retires from the safety board. She writes a book under a pen name, calling it fiction, embedding the truth in a thriller novel. Nobody takes it seriously. It sells poorly and disappears. She moves to a small town in Oregon and tries to forget, but she keeps a folder hidden in her home office. In that folder are copies of documents she managed to save, photographs of wreckage, printouts of black box data, screenshots of security footage showing the impossible. One night, Sarah receives an email from an unknown sender. The message contains a single attachment. She opens it and finds a photograph taken 3 weeks ago at a shopping mall in Anchorage. The photograph shows a woman in her 40s with 2 teenage children. Sarah recognizes the woman from the passenger manifest of Flight 227. She died 14 years ago. The woman in the photograph looks older now, her children nearly grown. She appears happy, healthy, completely unaware that in another version of reality, she has been dead for over a decade. Sarah stares at the photograph for a long time. She thinks about reality and truth. She thinks about the nature of existence. Maybe the universe is not as solid as people believe. Maybe every moment contains infinite possibilities, and sometimes those possibilities do not collapse into a single outcome. Maybe Flight 227 showed humanity something it is not ready to understand. That reality is fluid, that death and life can coexist, that truth is more complex than anyone imagines. She deletes the email and closes her laptop. She knows she will never get real answers. The truth about Flight 227 is buried under layers of classification and denial. But somewhere in Alaska, passengers from a plane that crashed 14 years ago are living their lives unaware they are impossibilities. They are going to work, raising families, growing older. They are proof that reality is stranger and more wonderful and more terrifying than anyone dares to admit. Sarah looks out her window at the night sky. Somewhere up there, aircraft are crossing the continent, carrying passengers who trust in physics and engineering and the solid certainty of existence. They do not know how fragile that certainty is. They do not know that under the right conditions, reality itself can split apart like a plane breaking up in mid-air. They do not know that somewhere in government files, buried deep and locked away forever, is evidence that the impossible happened. And maybe that is for the best. Maybe some truths are too dangerous for humanity to face. Maybe the knowledge that reality can fracture would destroy the comfortable illusion that holds civilization together. Or maybe the truth would set humanity free to explore possibilities beyond current imagination. Sarah will never know. She is just one investigator who saw something impossible and was told to forget. But she will never forget those passengers. She will never forget the wreckage scattered across Alaska. She will never forget the black box data showing a safe landing. She will never forget watching security footage of people who were simultaneously dead and alive. Flight 227 changed her understanding of everything. It showed her that the universe operates on rules far beyond human comprehension. And that is both the most terrifying and most beautiful thing she has ever learned. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe for more videos like this.